I'm a full-time clown. When we beep things, my life has changed so much in the past 2 years. I've moved to Madrid, I'm divorced, I've started a new life, and Madrid has changed so much.
A new person in the same circumstances, which can be an interesting experience.
The most intelligent thing and the bravest thing is getting out of your comfort zone. Just start. Just start. And then you will figure out the how. Do things for yourself. Do what you want to do and do what makes you happy.
If we said that your 2 years younger self tuned in, what would you tell this person?
I think I would tell that person to
welcome to another episode of 2 years from now. 2 years from now is my podcast where I talk with my guests about our learnings from the past and try to look ahead, manifest 2 years ahead. It's about reflecting on new levels or new cultures that you arrive in and hopefully give advice to your younger self. Maybe that's you behind the screen. If not, I hope still it's going to be entertaining for you. Today, I'm welcoming Patry Ruiz. That's the first time I say your name in front of you. Is that correct?
And you have done it pretty well, because rolling the R is not easy, my friend. So well done. Yeah, Patry Ruiz. Nice to see you again.
Perfect.
Thank you for having me.
You are a teacher, a content creator, and an entrepreneur.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
And across social media platforms, you have more than 500,000 followers. Would that be correct to put it?
Across all social media platforms is around 800. So yeah, 800,000. Okay. Yeah.
Wow, look at that. Already now, my research is so many followers that I couldn't count it.
I know, right?
Yeah. Patry, the first time I heard your voice, I'm not sure if it was in content or if it was at an event, but the first time that I heard your voice, I was not doubting that you were British. I really thought you were British. That's not the first time you hear that. You heard that quite.
And I haven't even said, yeah, can I have a bottle of water, mate? Yes, I know. I can trick people quite a lot. I've been too many years trapped in England, so I guess that's what that's done to me, to my accent. So yeah, and the fact that I pretend to be blonde helps as well with pretending to be a Brit.
Yeah.
But no, I'm as Spanish as they come.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a little bit British these days as well, so I guess I'm in between. But no, I'm Spanish from Madrid.
Yeah. When you're in, let's say when you're in UK or you talk with people from the UK, can they tell that you have a Spanish dialect, or do they think you're also British? Is it just because I'm Danish?
No, I mean, yeah, I know what you mean. No, I've managed to trick British along the years. Yeah, so the Brits, I've managed to trick them into thinking I was one of them. I was infiltrated amongst them. And yeah. I did well. Now, the first thing that I said whenever I met anyone in England was like, "Hello, my name is Pat, and I'm Spanish." That was my first line of introduction. So that just so there was no doubt about that. But yeah, no, I do have a bit of an accent, and yeah, I think I can merge pretty well.
And would people be surprised to hear that you're Spanish then?
Yeah, a lot of them, yeah, because of the accent. Yeah. Hello, I'm here for the British citizenship test. Take a seat. Thank you. You all right? Yeah, you? Good. What's the UK's first language? Sarcasm.
As mentioned, the podcast is called 2 years from now.
Wow.
If we said that your 2 years younger self tuned in and were listening to this right now for the next, let's say, approximately 1 hour, what would you tell this person what do you think this person would learn from this conversation?
I'd tell her to sit down first. Make sure you're sitting down because there's quite a lot coming your way. But yeah, I think I would. My life has changed so much in the past 2 years. So much. I was living in England. I was married there. I had a completely different life to what my life looks now at the moment. I've moved to Madrid. I'm divorced. I've started a new life. I do content creation full time. I no longer work in schools. So my life has done, a complete turn of circumstances. And yeah, I think I would tell that person to stop putting things off. And let go of what no longer serves her, and stop pleasing other people, I guess. Do things for yourself. Stop trying to be what people expect you to be or what you thought you know, you had to be, and just do things for yourself, do what you want to do, and do what makes you happy. So yeah, overall, I think that's what I would say, and don't be scared.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, letting go, it's a lesson that I've learned during this months, I would say, years. That's very, very valuable. Letting go in time. I wish I had done it earlier.
Right. I heard the other day that there's not a problem with being a pleaser if you're just also a pleaser for yourself, because the problems for pleasers typically are that they say yes to everybody else, but they forget themselves, right?
Correct.
And saying yes to yourself sometimes means saying no to others, right?
Correct. It's super important to learn that and to learn your boundaries, I think, and you know, where your inner peace lies and how to protect that. It's super, super important. And I have forgotten about that throughout the years. I started living in England thinking, oh, I'm going to be here just for a few months. And then I stayed to please, you know, other people, please someone else. And it's not what I wanted. And I forgot about myself for so many years. And that's something that made me extremely sad and miserable. And, you know, thank God that things happen the way they have turned out to be. And I never thought I would be back in Madrid. And I'm so happy that they have. But I don't think I would have chosen that for myself if the circumstances hadn't pushed me to do that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So, Patry, teacher, creator, content creator, or entrepreneur? When you wake up in the morning, who do you consider yourself?
I'm a full-time clown. That's what I am. That's what I tell. My full-time clown, 24/7. No, I think I'm a little bit of everything these days. And I haven't stopped teaching. I still have my platform where I teach, just at a different level. And you know, I'm going that in a very different way. It's very different to being in a classroom setting, obviously. I do miss that as well. But I haven't stopped teaching. I don't think I will ever be able to do that. I love it. And I teach through my videos and, you know, so yeah, and now the business is growing, so I'm more learning the side of managing a business, being an entrepreneur and living from that. And I couldn't do that without the good team that I have behind me. And they know all about marketing and all about these boring things that I don't want to know about. So they're the ones, the mind and the genius behind that. And I'm, I guess, the creative brain behind what you guys see. But I'm a bit of everything. I still consider myself a teacher and a content creator. What I don't like it is when people call me an influencer. I'm like, no. Yeah. What that entails is like, and people maybe that haven't seen my videos and that don't know what I do, and maybe they think that I do many cringe things, but you know, there's many other cringe things that I don't want to be associated with that influencers do. So yeah, I don't want to consider myself just an influencer. We all influence, I guess, in one way or another, but content creator, I like it better.
Yeah, I feel you. It sounds better.
Yeah.
When you present yourself to people and you give the short version, do you say, hey, I'm Patry, I'm a teacher?
No, I would say I'm Patry, and then I would shut up.
You shut up?
Sometimes, believe it or not. I might not very much throughout the podcast, but yeah. No, when they asked me what do you do for a living, I said, content creation. And they're like, what does that mean? I'm like, I just make videos for a living. And then is the question, what type of videos? And I'm like, okay, let's make it very clear. Educational videos, comedy videos.
Yeah. Difficult to explain to grandma.
I was going to say, my grandma, honestly, the ideas that she gets in her head, God knows what she thinks that I do for a living, because all she sees is that there's videos and me wearing different outfits, and she thinks that I work for the internet. That's what she says. My granddaughter works for the internet, and God knows what people think of that. Yeah.
I actually like that framing, because I think of it as attention economy. Yeah. And so you're working for the internet. Yeah?
I'm working for the internet,
Giri or local? I would like to know, do you think of yourself as a local here in Madrid, or do you think of somebody who has been away for a long time and came back?
I'm feeling more and more like a giddy these days, honestly. Yeah. So just for context, it's it's going to be April very soon, and the end of March at the moment. And I moved here August, really. So I haven't even been here for a year, and Madrid has changed so much. I've been out of here for 11 years. And during these 11 years, Madrid is not the same. The traffic is horrific. The prices have gone up. So Madrid is a little bit like London these days. It's changed a lot. I don't know the places. I don't know where to go. I don't know where to recommend people where to go. So it's a good job I've got my community. They've got my back. They recommend me, places and all this stuff. I'm like a giddy these days. Yeah. I'm a giddy in my own city. Yeah, I'm learning every day.
I hear that more and more.
Yeah.
From people that have been away and come back. It's quite interesting. When I go back to Copenhagen, because I also live here in Madrid. When I go back to Copenhagen, I somehow also I feel like everything is the same.
Yeah.
But it's a new person that is coming back to Copenhagen.
100%.
So I feel a new person in the same circumstances, which can be an interesting experience. But also sometimes I feel like it's just I press pause.
Yeah.
I go out in the world now, living in Madrid. And then I come back and I press play and everything is the same.
But that's literally what you're saying, that you press pause and you press play, but everyone else has moved on. So when I used to come back, I used to think, no, my friends, everything is going to still be exactly the same as I left it. Yeah. Nothing is the same. And like, I don't hang out with the same friends that I had when I moved away from here. Most of them, we have different lives now. We have nothing in common. So I don't know if you find that.
Truly, now you make me reflect more about it. And when I think about my friendships and my connections in Denmark and in Copenhagen, they're not fixed. Like they are changing, and some people, due to proximity, due to that I'm not near them, is more difficult to keep in touch with. That's true. So 11 years abroad, 11 years in the UK.
Yeah, correct.
Where about in the UK?
Everywhere. Yes. I initially moved there. Initially moved to Leicester. No offense, Leicester, but not the nicest of places to land in. The Midlands. So I was in Leicester for a few months, and then I moved to Birmingham, and then moved to the outskirts of Birmingham. I don't know if you know about the Birmingham accent. Again, it's not the best one to pick up. I don't think I picked up on that one, gladly. And then, I moved to the outskirts. I wanted to experience the countryside life, a bit fed up of the city, bought a house in the outskirts, and then ended up in Northampton, of all places, because that's where I was living, where my ex-husband was from. And we ended up living amongst sheep, cows, horses. So city girl from Madrid right here. I was out of my depth, let's say it that way, for quite a few years. I was a different person.
Okay. I want to talk with you about the classic question, who is Patry? But I also get more and more the sense from our conversation and from the bit of research I've done that there is more than one kind of Patry. There is the Patry that moved to the UK, and then there is the Patry that lives in the UK. And then there is also the Patry sitting here back in Madrid, creating a life here.
Yeah.
Would you say they are very different persons?
Essentially, no. So the essence remains, but I'd like to think that I'm an improved version. I'd like to think that. But no, I think we are different seasons. I think we're like a book, chapters, or if you want to see it like a series, we're different seasons. And just like that, people are not in our lives for the whole book or the whole movie or the whole series. They're in your life for different seasons. And that's exactly who you are. Like Patry the teenager, Patry the 20-year-old that moved to England, in love with someone else, and then in love with someone, and then started a career in this. So there's different seasons in your life, I guess, is what you take out of that season and then bring to the other one as a learning curve. And I guess that's where you're coming from with this podcast, because obviously you're taking the past 2 years of your life. What have you learned? What would you tell yourself? I look back and there's many moments that I've been terrified, absolutely terrified. Oh my God, what's my life becoming? What's going to happen? And I really wish I could go back and say, hey, look, this is where you're now. It's all going to work out. It's all going to be fine. And I would have saved myself so much anxiety, stress, tears. I think we need to trust a lot more the universe and how things work out for yourself. And just, excuse my French, fucking do it. Go for it. Can we beep things? Just wondering. Freaking do it.
Absolutely. And then after, absolutely not. Swirl it away. So it was a bit of the classic story. Moving for love or for work or for
yeah. I've always moved for love. It's not something I would recommend anyone, and it's not something I am proud of. And I have now learned my lesson. But I moved because my ex-boyfriend from Madrid moved to England, and so eventually, after a long distance relationship for a year, I decided to move out there. And that didn't go well. I think we lasted a few months living together. Too much PlayStation and all of that. And then I was about to move back when I met the one that became my husband and now ex-husband. And the first thing I said on the first date is, I hate it here. I want to move back. Yeah. Hated England. I couldn't cope with the weather, the traditions. It was just not my lifestyle. It wasn't, no. I wasn't loving it. And 10 years down the line, I was still there. So, then that's where it all comes in. I'm a people pleaser, and I do things for people instead of doing them for myself. Okay. I should have moved back to Madrid when I wanted. But then again, I wouldn't be who I am now, and I wouldn't be doing what I am doing now if I hadn't gone through all of that. So there's no regrets.
Do you have a specific experience in mind you're thinking about right now where you did something for somebody else, which you would go back and tell Patry, come on, stand up for yourself or do more for it? Do you have a specific thing in mind?
Yeah, staying in England so many years. Yeah. I've been putting off moving back to Madrid, not necessarily to Madrid, but even to Spain. So many years. And everyone that knew me in England were like, are you moving back this year? Have you convinced him yet? Are you doing this? And it was always the same. And even my friends here were the classic question, when are you moving back? And I just felt so frustrated because I just couldn't. I didn't know the answer, and it wasn't up to me anymore. And that's why I started on social media, because it was, for me, it was a escape route. Because, the excuse was always, we can't move to Spain on a Spanish salary. What am I going to do in Spain? I don't speak Spanish. And I knew I could always have a job here. I've always had good jobs in Spain because of my level of English. I could always find work. But for him, it was more difficult. So I thought, you know what? You're not going to have that excuse. I'm going to make a living on social media, and I'm going to create a business, and this is going to happen. And
so he was English from the UK, and he didn't speak Spanish. And then your initial motivation was, to make it yourself through content creation.
Yeah, because I thought if we don't depend on a Spanish salary and we don't depend on an on-site job, we can make a living and we can make money from anywhere. So that was my motivation. That was what drive me through the massive hours, that is not easy at the beginning. So I had to I was working 2 jobs. I was working full-time in school and then coming back home and doing this. In my break times, lunchtime, I was editing videos, writing scripts. It was bloody exhausting. For 2.5 years, I was exhausted, and I had really no help and no support in that sense. I was doing everything pretty much by myself. So it was pretty tiring, but that was what was driving me. The end goal was being here in Spain, enjoying the crappy weather that we've had for the past month. What's going on? What's going on?
Yeah, we will not record outside because that will be, we will lose so many views.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So I also hear you having this, I hear your motivation, your why in the beginning was actually business, to make money, to be able to make a living in Spain. And I think a lot of self-help books and a lot of people out there, successful people, so to speak, whatever that means in your definition.
Yeah.
They talk about finding your passion, finding your why, that you should not aim for the money. But I also hear you say that was your start. Would you say that was a good starting point?
The thing is, I'm reading a book at the moment, What's Your Dream? And I think I was actually reading about motivation last night, and he was saying that in order to fulfill all these goals and to carry out, a business, you need to be driven, you need to have that motivation. And for that, you need to have a clear goal. For me, my goal was not necessarily the money, but I knew that was the major obstacle in moving to Spain. Every time I said, why don't we move to Spain? Money. That was the problem. I was like, okay, let me solve that problem. Okay, that's no longer going to be a problem. I'm going to take care of that. I'm going to be able to not depend on a Spanish salary, because if that's the issue, let's get it out of the equation. And that was my motivation. So your motivation is ultimately what makes you fulfill that dream that you have, I guess. And without that, we can't achieve anything. If you're only looking for money and all of that, those are nice things. But ultimately, what are you looking to achieve with that? with that money, with that, for me it was the lifestyle. For me it was being close to my family. For me it was being able to feel at home again.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I can relate to parts of it. When I graduated from business school in Copenhagen, I moved to Spain very shortly after for a salary that was half of what I could make in Copenhagen. Copenhagen also being a more expensive place to be, blah, 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 blah. But I thought to myself, okay, this is like the end of my 20s. I think it's actually pretty healthy for my personal development, taking these years of experimenting and then having to get through on this level of living, this level of wealth, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I told myself that like I'm not gonna torture myself, but I think it's actually healthy to try making it in another place, and now I'm in a better place.
Yeah.
So I feel like when I look back on that, it's I think if I just took the classic corporate way in Denmark, I think I would have been too comfortable.
That's literally what I was going to say. The most intelligent thing and the bravest thing is that I think most of the time is getting out of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
It's painful, but if you don't go through that, you don't gain the resilience and you don't get the skills that you need in order to make it to where you are at the moment and to become the person that you are. Like I said, we are the things that we've been through. Mm-hmm. And if you look at some of the most successful people, all of these people that are doing podcasts, writing books, giving self-development advice and all of that, they have been through hell. Mm-hmm. They've had a tough gig in life, but it's how they've come back from that and how they've managed to get out of that and make it to where they are.
Yes.
So, like I said, no regrets.
Great. Before we move further, I would like to say particularly thank you for this place. It's called Collage, if I pronounce it right. Collage. I'm not sure if it's English pronounced
Collage.
Or Collage. Collage. Collage helped me providing this location for the podcast so I could continue. I've had a little bit of a break, but now we keep on going and we are in this super cool environment where I feel like I'm a little bit in a time capsule. Maybe some New York vibes in here. You have events, you have singers, you have entertainers coming by occasionally. So thank you again for giving me the opportunity to make the podcast here.
It's a bit French as well, isn't it? It's got that burlesque feel.
I like that you say that because I've never been to France, so...
Right at your list, it's not too far. So that's that. Not too far, you can get the car.
I've been around the world, but France not.
I was going to say.
And I think the owner is also French, if I am not mistaken. Yeah.
Where are you from? Paris, there you go.
Okay.
Parisian right
here. So back to the podcast I was about to say. Talking about your life in the UK, is there something when you look at that time, like culturally, the traditions? Is there something where you're like, where you really got a culture shock, or where you were really questioning the way things are done?
Yes, I mean, my videos thrive on that, don't they? Cultural shock after cultural shock. I actually, I have a notebook, in fact, with all the cultural shocks going into England, so I could go on and on and on for hours. I guess starting to work there in school, and I worked briefly in schools in Spain. Things were done very, very differently. And now that I've moved back to Spain, I do feel, and this is probably shooting myself in the foot, but it's like traveling back in time in some things, and it was a lot more advanced in England, how they were doing things. Everything was very, efficient. It's kind of, they live to work. And that's why I think that they always have the goal on when's the next holiday, because we need to know when's the next holiday. When are we going out? When are we going away? Because it's so tough on a daily basis there. And I think that adds to how many people are depressed and, a lot of things that play into that. But I think that just the culture, they are very, very, hardworking, very structured in many ways. There's also the pub culture. There's obviously I lived in the countryside. It's not the same as living in London, but yeah, it was very different for me. It was very difficult to do things, just improvise things. You know, in Spain, in Madrid, you call your friend, hey, are we hanging out? Are we going for a beer or whatever? You do it on the day. Yeah, I'll meet you in 30 minutes here. Let's go for tapas. In England, a month in advance, you need to, you know, do things very organized to meet up with people, and social life was difficult. It was hard. I really missed it. But yeah, I think there were so many cultural shocks, and I really missed. Obviously, the weather is what everybody says, but that's a given. But the food as well, like, you know, it's comfort food over there, and there's a lot of food as well that I still feel that you are, you know, stuck in war times when you do the beans on toast and all those things that at the beginning I was like, where's my pan con tomate? Come on, I can't eat these for breakfast. And now I go there to the hotels and I'm like, yeah, give me a full English. So yeah, I'm now a little bit English, you know, and the tea time, I've never understood why people would pay £30 per person for cucumber sandwiches and crappy chocolates, but now I understand it. I see it as a different culture. It's got good things and bad things, like everything. But I think overall, you get a lot more things done over there.
Yeah,
that's what I feel. Okay. And coming back here, it was like, oh, just getting like a bank account and, you know, speaking on the phone with people and getting all this bureaucracy done is a lot more painful than over there. So there's pros and cons. But overall, I did miss Spain quite a lot over there.
Yeah.
Gosh, is that the time? Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, but we're going to have to go. I know, Will needs to have his tea by 5:30, then bath and bed by 7. Uy, ya son las 7. Venga, Pablo, merendamos y al parque. 5 minutos te quedan, ya te lo digo. ¿No me hagas subir? Pablo, venga, que son las 9:30. Vamos a cenar. Pablo, ¿quieres más gambas? ¿Calamares? ¿Pulpo? Venga, nos tomamos algo en el chiringuito y ya para casa, que son las 11, ¿eh? ¿Tú quieres un helado? ¿Qué es esto? ¿Vino? Toma,
right now, as mentioned, it's raining outside, and I call it London weather, although I could call it Copenhagen weather, and I also call it focus weather, because that's the vibe I get from this. Like I have to say, I get things done.
Yeah.
When the sun is shining and it's 30 degrees, I don't feel like doing office work. I feel like going to the beach. That's not possible here in Madrid, though. But
vaya, aquí no hay playa. Yeah, no, we are more efficient, I guess, when there's this kind of weather.
After 11 years in the UK, then coming back to Spain, you touch upon you touched it a little bit before, but after 11 years abroad and then coming back, how did your view on Spain change after coming back? Like, do you see things differently here?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Especially, I had never been independent in Spain. I've always lived with my parents, obviously, how bills work, bank accounts, all of that. I had never been an independent adult in Spain in that sense. So I'm learning a lot as I go. It's, like I said, it's a painful process, even just like finding furniture for the house and things like that. I think we strongly depend on the one shop in Spain. You know, the shop I'm talking about, the shop we go for to get everything from. In England, there were a lot of other options I knew, and it's little things like I said, like the bank account and all of that. But overall, I learned to value Spain a lot more. So things that I used to take for granted, like the weather and things like that. I remember in Spain, it was always sunny and you wouldn't go outside and you would just have your siesta, or, you know, it's too hot to go outside and whatnot. And in England, the minute you saw a ray of sunshine, it's barbecue weather. Let's go to the shops. Let's go. Come on. You get the burger buns and whatnot. It's crazy. So you learn to appreciate it a lot more. And, you know, just like I said, sitting out in a terraza and having a drink with your friends, you learn to treasure those moments and moments with your family, I think. But yeah.
I was in Copenhagen 2 weeks ago with my girlfriend, and we had so much fun looking at people that were wearing their sunglasses because it was a sunny day and it was maybe 13 degrees.
Yeah.
And everybody was wearing that expensive Ray-Ban sunglasses, and I thought to myself, I mean, when it's 13 degrees and sunny in Madrid, people don't go around with their sunglasses. But of course, these few days of the year, they have to take the chance to wear their amazing sunglasses.
Yeah.
I just like, that was an example where I'm like, this is only because you have them and because you need to use them while you can, because there are fewer days.
I think you spot Spaniards everywhere you go. Well, and I say Spaniards, Italians, Greek, you know, the Mediterranean people, you spot them really easily in England because we are the ones that wear the fluffy coats when the Brits are in T-shirts and you know, and their sunshine, the sunglasses, like you said. Today I saw a few people online, including my friend. They were out in the garden doing barbecues and whatnot. And I looked at the weather. I was like, it's sunny. How many? It was 5 degrees. And they were outside. It was 5 degrees, but they were enjoying it. I was like, nobody would be outside in 5 degrees, you know, doing barbecues in Spain. But it's a different, you know, you need to seize the moment, I guess. Life is too short.
Indeed. You are, as mentioned in the introduction, a teacher. And I hear on you, you also still consider yourself very much a teacher. You didn't change that label for entrepreneurship necessarily, not always.
Yeah.
So I would like to talk with you about learning, learning a language.
Yeah.
And I would like to hear how do you practice a language? How do you get good at a language? And I'm asking because I'm not practicing Spanish anymore, but I used to take classes. And to be honest, I'm this kind of student who is really bored learning language.
That's because you haven't joined my community, Sylvester. Exactly. We're waiting for you over there.
I was looking at the trial yesterday. I said one week for free.
We might be able to get you a deal.
That's right.
We'll speak later.
We'll speak later. But that made me think about learning also in general.
Yeah.
Fun versus discipline. Like, I think a lot of people are obsessed with trying to find the right method of learning, rather than just, you know, accept that it's hard work to learn something new and set a timer and then do it for those 30 minutes, 1 hour, and then it's done. So what is your take on this? How much should you focus on trying to make it fun, trying to change your method of studying, and how much is it just do it discipline?
I think that's the wrong approach. If you're looking to invest 30 minutes, 1 hour of your day, come on, focus, you need to do this. If you're doing it like a chore, like I used to do the gym, no, you need to do it, come on, it's painful, but you need to get it done, you're going to end up hating it. You're going to end up hating it. Anything that you want to maintain long term in your routine and embed in your routine, they say that it takes, I think it was 21 days to create new routines, or 28 days, I can't remember, but anything that you want to maintain, it needs to be enjoyable. Yeah. You need to be able to enjoy it. And I've been a teacher, and for as long as I've been a teacher, it was a matter of, Miss, I can't even speak English. How do you expect me to speak Spanish? What's the point? Oh, this is boring, blah, blah, blah. We're always the last one of the list. So my ethos, my motivation behind all of this was, you're going to have fun in my class. You're going to have fun whether you want to or not. Yeah. And so I always used to make everything into a game when I was in school. And the kids, you know, they always used to enjoy it and really come into my lessons and laughing and saying, yeah, Miss Ruiz, da-da-da. And that was so good. And they were like, Miss, we used to hate languages until we had you. And that was kind of my moment of, yes, this is why I'm doing this. That was my aha moment. Okay, I want people to enjoy learning a language. So I always say, don't look at a language as a chore that you have to do. There's so many methods. There's people that are trying to sell you that you can learn a language in a month, in 6 weeks. And, you know, I think there's these money-making schemes that are not going to give you the results that you want. In order to learn a language, you need to live in the language. You need to immerse yourself in the language. And anyone that tells you, oh, I can teach you a language, just, you know, going into these apps, you know, doing your strike and whatnot, that's not going to work. Yeah, you're going to gain some vocabulary, some words. Effectively and practically, you're not going to learn that way. Okay. The way you're going to learn is tricking your subconscious into thinking in that language and embedding that into your routine, into your daily routine. Ultimately, you're living in the country. Of course, you can do that. That's a lot easier. You know, you go and get the pan, we go to the panaderia and get the bread in Spanish and all of that, or talking to your girlfriend and whatnot. But essentially, how you trick your subconscious is trying to start thinking in Spanish, and even things like you grab your phone is in Spanish. You're listening to the radio, you're listening to a podcast, even though obviously at the beginning it's going to be painful, you're not going to understand. So you need to do this step by step, but doing it little by little and engaging. That's why I have the community. Being realistic with you, I could be making a lot more money, and it would make my life a lot easier if I was just selling those courses. Hey, here's a Spanish course for you. That's it. I don't want to know. That's the pre-recorded courses. You sort your life out. But instead, I decided to create a community because I know that's really the way one learns. And so we are engaging every day in the chat. We get the memes, we get the Spanish slang. Oh, I went to this restaurant and giving recommendations. We are engaging in daily life conversations in Spanish. Excuse me. So that's kind of the content language integrated application method. Like the kids now, they're learning English. Okay, let's do science in English. Let's do biology in English. Let's do PE in English. Same here. Let's do life in Spanish. And let's learn through that. And in schools, it was always, games and all of that. With me, it was a survival mechanism. You don't want to have a bunch of 30 teenagers that are bored because, oh my God, they're going to make your life hell. So my motto in every class is like, guys, we're going to have fun. There's going to be maybe bits and bobs that are going to be a bit boring with grammar and whatnot, but ultimately we're going to do it having fun. I would take them outside, jump the timeline. I would say a verb in Spanish, and they would need to jump forward if it was future, or backwards if it was past. Some of them, it might be health and safety-wise, not always required, but they had fun. Or passing the ball. When I was doing questions in my class, anyone that would come in my class, I would always have a ball in my hand. And anybody that knows me knows I'm not good around balls. God, that sounded so bad. I'm not good around throwing balls. But that was, oh God. But you know what I mean? Just playing games with them, and it was all a game. So, God.
Perfect.
Okay, next. So you need to have fun.
It's correctly understood that in the UK you taught. You were teaching Spanish, right?
Correct.
So
yes.
People living in the UK watching this right now that wants to immerse themselves in the language, that wants to live in the language, but they are in the UK. How
they need to join? They need to join my community, Sylvester. They need to join Spanish with Patry. No, but being a part of a community is super important because you're every day surrounded by individuals that are on the same, learning journey as you are, and you're engaging in those conversations, whether that is by chat, but we do series club. So we're analyzing series. We're watching that series together. We're going to do book club as well. We are doing the life lessons at the same time. So, okay, guys, yesterday, I did role play on hairdressers. So we're like going to the hairdresser in Madrid, in Spain, and you go and pretend to do a role play, and you go into the breakout rooms. Last week we were talking about ghost and whatnot, and you talk about everything in the conversations, but ultimately we just have such a great time, and we're creating that community, and they know each other. We're now at a point that we're also starting to do meetups in Madrid, and meetups like a long weekend in Valencia we're going to be doing as well. So is that part of embedding all the cultural elements? People have it so easy these days. You've got the internet. You can get podcasts of all sorts. You can get YouTube. You can get things like Lingopad that allow you to watch series with subtitles and learn from those. And you've got all facilities. When I was learning, I didn't have... No, but it's true. When I learned English, I didn't have any of this. My parents sent me to the US a couple of summers and the UK, and that was that. That was just... I didn't have anything else. And now it's so easy to learn a language if you do it right. And if you change your mindset into thinking, let me just be in that part of, For Your page. Getting those Spanish videos.
You're selling your community very well.
Thank you. I have been trained.
I would like to add that note that starting out with content creation for myself, and I would say any entrepreneurial endeavor, and especially if you're a guy and you're doing it on your own and you are lonely doing it, it's really, really natural to feel lonely, and it's a part of the journey. Recently, I joined a community of one of our friends, Tom, where you also had a presentation, or what do you call it, a session. And what I found is that when I'm in a community with other people on a similar journey as my own. I just feel more motivated and I feel more supported. So if you're grinding on your own at home alone, and especially if you're a guy, nothing wrong with like reaching out and trying to do it together with other.
That's super valuable advice. This is a very lonely world out there for content creators and entrepreneurs. And like you said, especially if you're in that male atmosphere that, I can do everything by myself. I don't need to ask for advice or for help. It's going to be seen as weakness. No, it's the worst you can do. And yeah, I think having a community is essential.
I think in any entrepreneurial area, it's really about trying to make things as easy and as joyful as possible. That doesn't mean that it will be easy and joyful
always,
but it's at least something you should try, but then keep the discipline.
No, absolutely. But also, people have been in your shoes.
Yeah.
So they've already been through the problems that you maybe are encountering. So it's really handy.
If we go back to when you started content creation, you started, is it correct to say you started with some cooking?
I did. Oh my God, what was I thinking?
Cooking recipes?
Yes, I did. I do like to cook. I promise I
love
do
your
like
reaction.
to cook. Yeah. I started that. I had a very bad run in the school I was working at, and I hadn't had the best months of my life, and I quit my job. And I've always wanted to start social media, but it wasn't allowed because I was a teacher. And a lot of schools do not allow you to have public social media. So once I quit teaching in that school, I said, I'm done with teaching. I don't want to know. That's it. And, you know, I need to start a new business, one that I can do online. What do I do? Let's open an Instagram account. And I did that. And I thought, okay, what am I good at? And I don't know why. The first thing that came to my mind instead of teaching was, yeah, you will be great at making cooking videos. Because my friends were asking me for Mediterranean recipes. They were asking me, hey, can you share with me your recipe of Spanish omelette and your recipe for paella? And I thought, okay, this is going to be 2 birds, 1 stone. You know, I'll just send them the videos. Cooking videos are so hard to film.
Yeah.
And it was making my life miserable. I used to hate cooking because every time I was cooking at that point, I felt like I needed to film it. And it was making everything very, very difficult. And logistically, it just wasn't possible. So I did it for a few months. It burnt me out. And then I thought, never again. And I think...
Was that that time when you were focused on beginning content creation for making money? For moving to...
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Correct. And I was completely lost. I was like at a point that, okay, I've been doing this for 3 months. I'm doing what people say to do of, you know, take the pretty pictures, do this, do that, the aesthetic content, create value. Nobody's paying attention to me, like only my friends and family, and half of them are laughing at what I'm doing anyway. So where do I take it from here? And it was that aha moment that I posted a comedy video. I remember my neighbor, and I will never forget his words. He was like, "You're really funny, Patry, but you never show that in the camera." I was pretending to be one of these Instagram girls that I thought that's what society wanted me to do. Be one of these aesthetic girls, you know, in the kitchen with the apple or the... No, it's not who I am. And he said, why don't you show your funny side on camera? And why don't you do that? And I created a comedy video about the word años versus anos, which, you know, when you're learning Spanish, it's an easy misconception. And yeah, I created that, posted it on New Year's Eve.
And you just did that? Like, was that out of your comfort zone, or did you overthink it, or were you just like, just do it?
I studied acting, so I love acting as well. I'm a bit of an actress and drama queen full time as well. But I thought it would be funny, and I think I had a misunderstanding in school with one of my students that said, "Ano, tengo 14 años," or something like that, and I was like, no, and they found it so funny, so hilarious that I was like, I'm gonna make a video out of this, and that's when it all started.
Well, I was in language school in Guatemala, and I made the mistake of saying "tengo calor" or "tengo caliente." It was very hard that day, and now I'm even confused again.
Estoy calor or estoy caliente? Yeah. That's very,
So which one of them is...
So estoy caliente, I'm horny, Tengo calor, I am hot.
Estoy caliente, and I made the whole class they were just dead laughing, and I was like, I mean, it's really hot today, what's so funny?
It's really tough.
It was really long, 10 seconds before they stopped laughing and they could tell me what's going on here.
And I bet you never forgot that one. Do you still
No, but I
say-
still confuse them, obviously.
It's easy. It's easy.
Yes.
I mean, has that had good results for you though? Clearly, you have a Spanish girlfriend, so I'm assuming that.
I'm lucky that she speaks very well English. Or maybe unlucky.
You might use that to your advantage sometimes.
yeah,
that
yeah,
misunderstanding. Yeah, no, it's funny.
And the
There's-
other day I wanted to say that I feel lucky, and I said siento, and I said siento fuerte. So I said I feel strong.
Yeah, siento fuerte.
Yeah, I'm hearing for that every day. Do you feel strong today?
Yeah, from somebody that's also, with someone that doesn't speak Spanish, I feel your pain. and her pain more than yours, I guess. It's funny. It adds to the spark.
Estoy caliente. No, you can't say that. Soy caliente? You want to say tengo calor. Tengo calor? I have hot? Yes. So then, el té tiene calor? Ay, no. El té está caliente. Está. But you just said tener. Así es la vida. Okay, so hoy está caliente, right? No. Hoy tiene calor? Hoy hace calor. Hace. Tengo, está, and hace? I didn't invent the language.
Day in the life of a content creator. Day in the life of Patry Ruiz.
Get ready with me. My days vary a lot these days. Tom asked me that the other day. He was filming a vlog and he asked me, what does a day in your life look like these days? And I was like, every single day changes, especially recently because I was traveling quite a lot since I moved to Spain. But now I'm more in a routine. So I wake up, first thing I do, I try to avoid grabbing my phone. That's something that I'm still working on. But yeah, staying away from my phone, doing my manifesting, things that I'm grateful for, a bit of meditation work. And I know this sounds like bullshit, is she? I'm actually doing that, I promise, because I didn't used to, and I find it really helpful to kind of get focused and start the day on the right frame of mind. And I know that when I don't do it, I sometimes get sidetracked. So yeah, just the normal routines. I start working out after that, then breakfast, and then cracking on with meetings for the day and content creation depending on the day. Some days looks like filming courses, language courses. Some days looks more like creating videos, and some other days it all goes out the window and we have to film outside or travel to a location. I'm trying to get more into traveling content these days as well. So yeah, I guess it's really exciting, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I have such a great job. I do feel that people sometimes overrated in many ways, because, and I don't want to say this because it's the cliche, there's a lot of work behind the scenes. There is a lot of work behind the scenes. There's a lot of other jobs that are freaking tough. And when I was working in school, that was a lot tougher than what I'm doing at the moment, let's be honest. But also you have the mindset and the anxiety and the pressure of there's a lot of people watching and there's a lot of people judging you on a daily basis, and a lot of people expecting results if you're working with other companies. Yeah. So it's a lot to bear in mind. But no, every day is different, and I love that. I love the flexibility and the freedom that gives me.
Is it stressful for you to being constantly having to make up new videos, make up new stories?
It can be stressful, and it's a bit of a roller coaster. You go through moments of that the creativity is up here, and you don't have enough time to write the scripts, and you're full of ideas, you're full of beans, you want to. And lately I've been going through a time, I think it's because I've been moving as well, and going to a new place and getting into this new routine and everything, that I've been kind of running low on my batteries, and that's okay, I guess. That's okay. You also need to give yourself time. Yeah. There was a time in my life that I was posting 3 times a day. Luckily for my brain.
3 times per day.
3 times per day when I started. And luckily that time is far, far behind. And now I have weeks that maybe I post 3 times a week, or maybe I post 5, or maybe I post 1. And that's also okay. So I just take it as it goes. obviously there's times that you have campaigns running and that you have certain commitments that you can't get out of, and that's okay. You just need to plan accordingly. I've been told that I need to be more organized, and I'm working on that, on the structure and the planning, so I don't get stressed. But yeah, no, I think it depends.
I can tell that you are a natural in front of the camera.
Thank you.
I'm sure you also practiced a lot, but sitting here with you, how you address the camera, how you feel comfortable here, while we have 3 cameras going, would you say content creation and putting yourself on camera is for everybody?
No, absolutely not. No. Like everything, this is a very demanding job, and to be comfortable in front of a camera, and I was not always like this. Like, I guess like you look at videos from when you started and you're like, oh God, the way you speak, the way you move, the way it all evolves, and it's a learning process. I was always very comfortable in front of the camera, and I remember since I was very little, they would give me a mic to present, I don't know, little competitions in my urbanización or whatever contest, and I was always like, give me the mic, I want to talk. So yeah, there's always that side of me, that yes, please let me be the center of attention. I'm okay with that, but and I want to do that. I want to get a lot more into presenting and maybe working on TV. That would be my ultimate dream. But I don't think it's for anyone. Like, I started studying to be a nurse, like my mom, because I thought, yeah, I'm going to do that. I don't know what I'm going to do. Let's be a nurse, like mom. It was not for me. Oh God, I couldn't do it. I don't like blood or needles. What was I thinking? I got out of there crying the first placement period that they gave me. So no, you need to be passionate, but you also need to have the skills. And I guess this is not for everyone. Same as many other jobs are not for me. We all have our different skill set, and we need to be clever about what's right for us and what's not. And there's nothing worse than doing a job that you don't like doing.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I do think there is a lot of people that are like you, and not only like you, but also like me, and like this person, and like this person.
Yeah.
And the more we are able to put that personality through the lens, the more we are able to be authentic in front of the lens, being ourselves, the more there will be people behind the lens on the screen that can relate to that person.
Yes.
Do you see it the same way?
Yes, absolutely. I think the key, there's a lot of people that ask me, I want to do this, but how do I start? I'm scared. Oh, I hate myself in front of a camera. How do I? And I always give the same advice. Just imagine that you're talking to your friend. You say, I'm comfortable in front of the cameras. I've genuinely forgotten that there's cameras around us. I'm here having a conversation with you. That's it. That's why you see my energy and maybe me being comfortable. But it's because I'm talking to a friend. And that's the same that I do when I'm filming my videos. I'm imagining I'm talking to my friend. I'm telling a story to a friend. And that comes across always. And if you look at the story times and the videos that engage you, in those 3 seconds that we have to engage people, they're the ones that are talking to you like your friend would talk to you. And that's why you're paying attention, because you find that familiarity in them, I guess. So yeah, I think that's the way forward. In order to be comfortable in front of a camera, you just need to kind of forget about the camera and imagine, and it's super difficult. That's not easy. But also, if you're thinking about what people are going to be thinking about you and what people are going to be saying, you're never going to get anything done in life. Because, there's so many people that are going to be judging you. No matter what you do, everyone's going to have an opinion all the time. And sometimes other people that should be the most supportive and the closest to you that are not. And don't let that come as a shock. A lot of people will not support you when they have to, but then they might come back when you make it. And you're like, so fake it till you make it, and keep going, and don't give shit. I was going to say, don't give a shit. let me speak French or Spanish about what anyone thinks. Ultimately, this is your goal. You get your feedback, of course. I like feedback. If somebody watches a video and says, I didn't like this, or constructive feedback is great. Hater feedback, that's all I care about. No, thank you very much. Hater feedback tells me more about their lives than about me and the video that I'm creating. But constructive feedback, I'm always willing to listen to that. So I guess people that want to get in front of the camera and do what we're doing, do it. What do you have to lose? Your life is too short. Stop putting things off. I've put this off for so many years. I've been talking about going online for like the past decade of my life, starting a YouTube channel. I used to tell that to my students when I first started teaching 10 years ago. If I had started then, we'd be having this conversation in my yacht right now, Sylvester. Not that this place is not cool, super cool, but don't put things off.
I'm not offended. How important is the hook?
Very, 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 very. At the beginning, especially when people don't know you, when you want to start getting those views. Once you have created a reputation for yourself, once your face is able to be, recognized, and people are, oh yeah, it's this video. Oh yeah, I quite like this girl. I quite like this guy. Yeah, let's watch the video. You've got them a bit more then, and you've got a bit of a platform, a community. You've got people that are willing to listen because they've already listened to you. They know that you've got things to say that are probably going to bring them value. At the beginning, you need a hook. These people don't know you. You need to give them a reason to stay. And I think I mentioned this at the chat that we were doing the other day in that session. I was horrified. I was sat in the metro the other day, and I had this woman sat next to me and another woman on the other, and they were like, it was the speed of lightning that they were scrolling past videos. And I thought, oh my God, they're not even giving those videos a 1 second chance. People say 3 seconds. That was 1 second, and she was going, and it's insane the amount of information that we consume and the way that our brain is processing that and moving and developing to, we are exposed to so much more information nowadays than we were, I think, in our whole lives, if we had lived a different life a century ago. Just in a day, it's insane. So you do need a good hook to start with. Once you've got your community, once you've created those relationships and established that, you can relax a bit more. I don't think about the hooks that much. But at the beginning, I think it's essential, even just write a list. Everything is a hook, not only words, even a silly movement. Just getting the seatbelt when you're getting in the car, grabbing a cup of water. Anything that can grasp people's attention is a hook. It doesn't have to be verbal.
It's really an appreciation for the attention span or lack of same we have to make sure that you have a great hook in the beginning. Like, you can have brilliant ideas, have great content, but if you're not managing those first 3 seconds, then there's this other thing or the next thing in the feed that is just more attention grabbing, and then you lose like that. Talking about attention economy. If you should, like you mentioned before, that you were doing 3 posts per day in the beginning.
That's what people were saying. That's what people were saying.
That's what. that leads me to the question: quality or quantity?
Quality is more important than quantity overall, and you're gonna run yourself. You're gonna end up running out of batteries and just hating this if you're doing 3 posts a day. And what is not manageable for anyone, even if you do it as a full-time job, is not really manageable, and you can oversaturate your audience as well. I was doing 3 on TikTok. I don't think anyone should ever do 3 on Instagram, for the record, a day. But 3 on TikTok, it was the thing back in the time when I started doing this. And I think it was crazy. It was mad. And I was doing a lot of voiceovers. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't this, script with the scenery and the characters that I do nowadays. No. It was a quick video. But work smart, not hard, they said, and it did work for me. I think you should always focus on quality and what is each video bringing to the table. I always say educate and or entertain. If you can do both at the same time, you're in for a win, and people are going to follow you because you're bringing value.
When you look at young Patry, is it like how many years ago is it that you started?
3 years ago.
3 years ago. When you look at 3 years from now, when you look at younger Patry starting out, the mindset that she has, the approach that she had to content creation, is that like some specific thing that you would tell her to, or like kill your darlings, or Was there something where you think of yourself, yes, you were being too proud, or you were being going too much into the details, or too little?
I would tell her to sort her hair out in some videos. I've been looking at videos of myself recently. I was like, what was I thinking? No, I would say delegate. I used to be, just to save money, I used to do everything by myself. And I think it's super important, even when you're starting and you have a very small budget or no budget at all. I mean, if you have no budget at all, fair enough, you might need to do that for a few months. But I think it's much better to have an editor. You can get, editors for a very low budget at the moment, if you do it carefully. And, I'd say delegate is very, very important. So you are doing what you need to be doing, and then someone else can do the rest of the work. But overall, I would also tell her to relax. There's a lot of videos that I'm like, like trying to be too perfect or too this or too that. And some of the most successful videos that I've had is when I'm more relaxed and I'm showing a more relaxed kind of version of myself. Like you said, more authentic version of myself. And I think that people can relate more to that. Obviously, when I'm playing characters, I dress up and I put the wigs and whatnot. But when you're talking to the camera and you're just relaxed on the couch or whatever, or in the car, or that also comes across as more approachable. And like I said, familiar. People would follow what feels familiar and what feels good. And if you're all just dressed up for the video, I would tell her, just chill, girl. Relax. You're bringing value. You're making people laugh. It's fine. It's fine. You don't have to, dress up for it or whatnot. Just be yourself. Be yourself. Be authentic, and the rest will come.
That's inspiring. It's good to hear.
Thank you.
If we look 2 years ahead from now, and we consider Patry Ruiz in this future, do you see, you were mentioning before, a part of your routine is manifestation, meditation, visualization. So I assume that you also have some picture of where you see your community, where you see your business in the future.
Yeah, I have my vision board.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. I think, it's scary to think. Well, not scary. It's exciting to think 2 years from now. Like I said, 2 years ago, if you told me I would be here, I would have never believed you. I would be like, you're insane. No way this is going to happen. So I'd love to be able to see that me 2 years from now. I think that the way the team that I'm building is essential. And I always say that you are only a very small part. Me, yeah, you see me, you see my business, you see Spanish with Patry or Patry Ruiz or whatever in the videos, but there's a lot of people behind it. And the people that have come into my mind, the people that have come into my life to create this have been essential. And the people that you're meeting to different, you start creating arms, I think. So you are the brain, and then you've got different arms that are helping you, that are essential to keep everything working and everything together. And at the moment, I'm very happy with the arms that I have, if that makes sense. They're key elements in my life. And I think they are only going to help build the structure stronger and stronger and stronger. And that goes as well into my personal life and friendships and all of that. They all add to that. And the way everything is aligning is really, really key. So I think in 2 years from now, judging by the team that I've got and how hard we're working, I would love to see 2 very, very strong communities, one for Spanish and one for English. And then I think the rest will come. If I can be, working on TV like I want to do, or doing some things in movies, acting, I would love that as well. But I think especially the business side of things, Spanish and English, having 2 really strong communities to work with, and making languages fun and accessible for everyone. That's another dream of mine. So especially for teenagers and people that are still learning in schools, I think it's very tough for both teachers and the students to be learning MFL, Modern Foreign Languages, in England, especially because that's where I've had the experience, and I would love to facilitate that if I can in some sort of way. So yeah, I think exciting times are coming, Sylvester. I can't tell you, but no, I don't know. We don't know what awaits. So yeah, I also have a podcast. So I'd love to interview you one day.
In 2 years from now. No?
No, it's a podcast already happening.
Yeah. You'll interview me in 2 years from now.
In 2 years from now. Should we do an episode with you 2 years from now? We can manifest today what will be happening in 2 years from now, and then in 2 years from now I'll be the one interviewing you. Amazing. But yeah, no, exciting times. Where do you see yourself in 2 years?
I see myself traveling, talking with interesting people, helping people finding that person that is a few steps ahead of them. That is the idea of this podcast, that if you want to be, let's say you want to be a League One football player, maybe you should not look at Cristiano Ronaldo. Maybe you should look at the football player that is a few steps ahead of you.
Yeah.
And I want to facilitate that conversation, and I want people to hopefully feel inspired from the people that are just a few steps ahead of them, because I think it seems more manageable to get there if you don't put yourself up there. I mean, dream big. I'm a very big believer in not limiting yourself and your own dreams, but when it comes to not what you want to be, but how you want to be it, then I think it's a good start to look at the person that is a few steps ahead of you.
Bridging the gap.
Yeah, exactly.
Little by little, making it manageable.
Yeah. But that said, one of my last episodes was with a coach, and he taught me the episode with Mike Rador, my fellow Danish guy. He taught me not to worry about the why. Sorry, not to worry about the how. So dream big, put yourself there in your imagination, and then care less about exactly how you'll get there, because you don't know. I mean, you started out with cooking videos.
Yeah.
So, and now you have a great community of people that are learning language and helping a lot of people every day.
Just start. Just start, and then you will figure out the how. Just make a move on it. Don't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very inspiring as well.
Thank you.
I'll take you on the traveling bit. I'd also like to travel a lot. Yeah. I think that's where you learn the most, traveling.
Patry, thank you so much for attending my podcast. Thank you so much for sharing your story to your 2-year younger self. Hopefully there's somebody out there who see themselves in you.
Thank you.
And I'm sure there's a lot of people that find your story inspiring, and they see themselves being able to completely change their own lives, whether it comes to moving abroad, whether it comes to creating a community, content creation, entrepreneurship, you name it. So thank you so much for coming and sharing that story.
Thank you for inviting me. It's been a pleasure, and it's lovely to talk to you anytime. You bring such peace. I love it.
Thank you, Patry.
Thank you very much. Gracias.
Thank you for watching.
Second mistake they make all the time, H. How do you say your H in Spanish? You don't say tengo 11 años. That would mean I have 11 anuses. And you don't say either soy 11 años, because you're using the wrong verb. I know in English we use the verb to be, I am for H. In Spanish we say I have. So the correct way of saying it, I have, then the number, and then the word years, which is años. Por ejemplo, tengo 11 años. Años, años, años.